Hi everyone, welcome to Fishing Minty and welcome to Upper Tamar. This is my 8th session that I've recorded here. I have been here on Westfest for 5 days and the Feeder Masters qualifier, and basically I did terrible. I was expecting to be last place on both those occasions, which I was, apart from people that didn't weigh, but I wasn't expecting to be so far behind everyone, so I've got to put in lots of practice. Loads of people give me good advice, so I just need to try and put that into practice and kind of pick up my techniques. So as well as following their advice, is actually kind of hitting all the bites and baiting up correctly and getting my feeder in the right place and the feed not coming out the feeder and not bumping off fish, and so many more things. So all I can do is come out and fish as many times as I can. This is the first time I've been able to come out since that time, which was a month ago. There have been a few competitions going on at the weekends and I've had other plans and priorities as well, but yeah, hopefully to put some of those tips and advice to practice today and catch some fish. So I'm just about to bait up with this feeder, which is 3 inches long by 2 inch diameter. I've got ground bait wise, I've got Sonia Baits Sweet F1 mixed in with some krill powder. I think it's a company called Maltbis or something like that off Amazon. So I've mixed that in together. I've got some dead pinkies, I've got some Sticky Baits krill micro pellets, a pint in there and another one waiting to go. Got some sweet corn, got some dynamite particle mix, and I've got some 6mm bloodworm pellets by Sticky Baits and 4mm krill pellets by Sticky Baits. And I've also got various wafters as well, some 6mm mainline, pineapple, cell and tuna, that's a different tub. And we've got some Ringers mini wafters, which I think they're 4mm, yeah, 4mm wafters as well. So feeder wise, I'll be using pellet feeders, or they call them scoop feeder on here, because it's not just for use of pellets. Putting in all kinds of grubs and particles and pellets and ground bait mix. Now the one thing I haven't got, which is going to be a big downfall I think, is chopped worm. I didn't get a chance to go to the tackle shop before this session, so I didn't get a chance to get any worms, so I think that's going to affect me quite a lot, but I thought it's better to come out without worms and just try it than not come out at all. But there we are, but just about to bait up with probably 3 of these, I think, filled with ground bait and corn and pellets and particles, and then I'll leave it about half an hour and have a little bit of time on the whip while I'm waiting for that bait to settle before casting out for the first time over that bait. So it's been half an hour since I've baited up. I forgot to say earlier on as well that I clipped up to 35 metres, so that was just the right bottom and the right count of depth. And I'm using the large Preston window pellet feeder, but you might notice at the bottom there I've actually put cable tows over the end, because I think the holes on the end of the large ones are just too big, so if I put 4mm pellets in there they just end up falling straight out the holes. So I've made that kind of almost solid at the end. Obviously you've still got the squares holes at the top, which is, I think is a better kind of pellet feeder for me. You've got the solid ones with the holes at the end, put solid on top, but I actually like the holes on top but solid at the end, which I don't think you can buy, so I've created my own kind of mix there. But anyway, so I put particle mix in this first cast at the back end of the feeder, this end. Then I've put my bait in there, which is about 4 dead pinkies on a pole special hook tied to a 4-inch hook length, and then I've just squished in the mix of ground bait and micro pellets in this end. You want to pack it as tight as you can, because you need to get the hook bait still to be in your feeder when it hits the bottom, so you don't get intercepted by a little small perch and roach on its way down. Yeah, anyway, it was my first cast. Let's see how we get on the feeder. That's 2 minutes gone, so I'm reeling in, casting out again. Yeah, Someone says you need to be doing 2-minute casts here. If you don't get a fish or a bite, even if you're getting little indications, just reel in after 2 minutes and recast. Mainly just to make sure you're just constantly putting bait in there, and you should be getting bites, certainly in summer, that frequently. Well, there's one pinky left on the hook after having several on there, so something was definitely messing with it. So just thread a few more on there. Same again, I think got some of the particles in. And plug the end with just the ground bait with a few micro pellets mixed in. I want to try and get the feed that the fish want at the back end of the feeder, so they have to come across my hook bait first. Tackle wires, we're using the Drennan Acolyte medium feeder 13-foot rod, which I purchased based on Alan Taylor on Wickersley Angling's YouTube channel, and all the features I've seen about this rod on the Drennan website seem to suit this type of fishing. My Nitro Marvelous rod actually snapped on the feeder master qualifiers. The top section just snapped in half, so I'm waiting for that to be sorted out by the ring doorbell's going. Silence that. I'm waiting for that to be sorted out by Tail Fish and Tackle, but I decided to get a softer rod anyway. It's meant to be really soft and good for very small skimmers, this particular rod. So reel wise, I'm using the Nitro 5500 long cast reel, and I put another spool for this reel now because I did have braid on, but fishing in line I wanted to use mono, so I've got a separate spool now which has got Guru Pulse Pro. I think it's 6 pound, 6.1 pound, 0.2 millimeter diameter line on there. So yeah, so that's my setup that I'm using today. All complete new setup, and then we've got bite. That's what we wanted, right on the 2-minute mark. So I was just due to cast out anyway. I managed to get that little overview of the tackle setup in on that cast. Let's see, hopefully we don't bump them off. Oh, nice roach. That was a real risk lifting that one in. Oh, it's still swinging, and it's got it now. Yeah, that was a real risk doing that by hand, but oh, it's come off in my lap. It's in between my legs at the moment, so it's not got back in the lake. Yeah, I would definitely netted that one in a match, but there we go. Nice roach, 3 or 4 ounces maybe. Let's try and find the skimmers, because it's the skimmers you really need to find to get big weights on here. But yeah, this soft tip rod I'm hoping will eliminate bumping off small skimmers at the net, which is what I was getting on my previous rod. Not necessarily down to the rod, who knows, but if I'm using the right tackle, then that takes that out of the equation, doesn't it? I've just lifted my rod rest up now, because just when I'm reeling in the last couple of casts, the line's just been snagged on the near side. So I want to try and get that my rod as high as possible. Hopefully it's still visible in the camera. Yes, it is. And hopefully it's not going to be affected too much by wind. I just want to eliminate that line getting caught on nearby snags and run the risk of a fish getting the line going slack past that point and the fish getting off. That's one of the other problems to overcome on this venue, the rocks on the near side bank. Downside to having my rod like this is that it's not in a grip rest at the back end, it's just resting against the arm. That looks like a bite to me. And obviously the bite indication's completely different when it's up in the air, because you've got the breeze and the line being pulled by the wind to interpret as well as bites from fish. So it's that balance between bite indication when the rod tip's low against the water and not getting snagged up on the retrieve. Yeah, that's a bite, I think. Let's see. I think there's life at the end of that line, judging by the rod tip. We shall see. I think there's surges, unless that's just the feeder making its way through the water. Also obviously holding the rod as high as possible as well. Yeah, definitely a fish on. Let's see what we got. Yeah, so I'm holding the rod tip as high as possible as well to keep the fish up in the water and avoid any snags. I think we've got a skimmer there. So we can get to the net without bumping off. Yeah, it's definitely a skimmer, nice size. Here we are, and he's in the net. Lovely, lovely job. Now that time, rather than particles, I'd put a lot of dead pinkies in the feeder as well as the dead pinkies on the hook. Whether that made the difference then or not, whether this skimmer just happened to be passing by. Is a jumpy one. Alright, in the net. Let's see if we can get hold him tight enough to unhook him and show him to the camera. There we are. I don't know if that rest is in the way or not. But yeah, it's probably about half a pound, I'd say, per skimmer of the day. We want to be getting about 60 or 70 of them to come anywhere near it in a match. Yeah, that's a bite, I'm sure. I mean, that was only 30 seconds after the feeder had hit the bottom. So I do need to make sure I'm not lifting into the wind, moving the rod tip all the time, because it could be a very fruitless session. No fish again. Yeah, I think that's a bite. I just reeled onto that one because there's some slight twitches, but the line was slack. Yeah, there's definitely one on the end here. I think it was about a minute and a half that cast. I started the stopwatch a bit late. Definitely something nodding. Let's see what we've got. This time I put micro pellets in the feeder alongside my double pinky hook bait. It's a smaller skimmer, yeah, so micro pellets, double pinkies on the hook, and then ground bait to seal off the feeder at the front end. There we are. Second skimmer of the day. Oh, it nearly swam over the top of my net. And the key thing with today, really, as well as finding and keeping the fish, is also not bumping any off. These are the type of stamp of fish that have been bumping off up to now, so hopefully, like I say, this tackle is helping. Not the be all and end all, but I've got to make sure I'm using the right tackle to avoid that problem, as well as my technique. Off he goes. And my maggot's chewed to pieces. Obviously completely missed that bite. I did leave my box to go and get my what do you call them, pellet bander tool. I'm going to put a micro pellet a wafter on now. I'll get the words right eventually. So yeah, I've got ideally I want to set up some microbar hook lengths 4-inch with a bayonet on, because you can't buy any microbarb hooks pre-tied with bayonets. So this is the setup I'm going for. You can see that in the camera, but it's basically a Ringer's 4mm wafter on a band, and then I just threaded the band directly onto the hook. It's the best I can do on a microbarb hook at the moment. And I'm going to put micro pellets in the back end of the feeder. So micro pellets in there, and then I put my wafter in, and then I'm going to squeeze some of the ground bait tight in to plug it all in place during the cast, and while it sinks to the bottom, press that in as tight as I can get it. See if we can get a bite off that. Definitely need to catch at a faster rate than this for matches. But hopefully I'll attract them and get them to stay in my peg over the course of the next 4 hours. What would be a match duration of 5 hours. Yeah, I think that's a bite. 1 minute 36 that was out for. I can't feel anything on the end at the moment. Nope. So you can probably see on this cast off reverted back to the rod tip low to the water. It's no good being able to avoid snags having the rod tip high if I can't detect the bites, so just a bit of experimenting really between the height of the rod tip and any snag issues. See how I'll get on with it like this for a little while. Some slight indications. The other thing as well is that I've moved from braid to mono as well now, because I'm much more likely to bump fish off on the braid, but then the bite detection's a lot better with the braid, so it's balancing the different scenarios really, because the trouble is fishing in line with braid, you then just got a tiny 4-inch hook length, and I've experimented with different lengths of shock leaders and stuff like that as well. Yeah, that's an indication. Yeah, so I'd rather fish mono right the way through on the reel when I'm using this inline setup. Yeah, that's definitely a fish on now. So it's just a case of trying to get the balance right between bite detection and not bumping any fish off. This is a perch, yeah. Nice perch. Again, not bumped off. I could see him shaking his head then, but he made it to the landing net. He is about 3 or 4 inches, I think. Just 20 on my line then. She either instigated a bite or just made the indication obvious that there was a fish already on. And you can definitely feel something on at the moment. And is it a skimmer or a nice perch? I don't know. It's nice thud to the rod tip. A minute and 30 seconds he was out for, and the rod went round. Yeah, skimmer. It's on the surface now. It was. I'll try and keep it up in the water without putting too much pressure on. Nice size, but similar size to the first one, I think. Interestingly, there's just ground bait in the feeder on this cast, apart from my triple dead pinky hook bait. There's a few micro pellets mixed in with the ground bait, but mainly just ground bait. It's come unhooked in the net. Here we are. Yeah, that's definitely a nicer fish. Just over ½ a pound, I'd say. That's what we need all day long. Yeah, that's a bite. This feels like something substantial again. Hopefully another skimmer the size of the last one. It's definitely got a nice bend in the rod tip. Yeah, it is as well. Yeah, with my camera setup I can't really show you the rod tip because of how I'm having to lift in to keep them away from the snags on the bottom of the lake. I need to set the camera up from a distance to do that. Oh, that's the biggest of the day, I think. Maybe. Yes. the top lip, funny enough. Not what you want with a feeder setup really, but I'm not complaining. Suddenly started fidgeting now, I've unhooked him. There we are, another lovely Upper Tamar skimmer. Let's get another take, just before 2 minutes. The last 3 casts now in the feeder. I've just had ground bait and my hook bait in the middle of it. No other dead maggots, or it's only 20 perch, but still, no other dead maggots or sweet corn or particles. Always burnt stuff in my hand, never mind. Probably would have landed in the keep net if it was a match. So I'm counting that one. You can probably see the fish topping all around me now, close in. Seeing this when I was at the matches here recently. They're all right round your feet. Yeah, so you can just see them on the surface. It's just mad. As soon as you settle down, they're just all around your feet. Oh, well, that was nearly a take. It just dropped back then. So as it's still just real tight on my line. Yeah, so I mean, ultimately on these practice sessions, I'm trying to find as many skimmers as I can. But if you don't find the skimmers, then you can build up a decent weight of these small fish. But it's just that decision making as to go for them from the start. Oh, that was a take, but I am snagged up, so hopefully I can free the snag. Still have the fish on. Oh, that's the snag free. Now I've got a fish on the end. Yeah, so as I was saying, there's loads of fish close in. So even feeder matches, obviously you can just use a feeder. Oh, there you go. See, something's taken that. There you go. Look, a small perch has just taken that on the retrieve as my feeder was in close. I was just about to lift the feeder out the water because the bite head's right far out. I didn't hit, but that little perch there just took it right in front of me. There you go, that's a perfect example of how many fish there just are around here. They're just like little swarms of piranhas, but you need a lot of them to build a weight. And if someone's found and is catching skimmers all day long, you're not going to compete. Yeah, that's a bite. I thought there was something there. Perch. Oh, and he's bumped off, so I definitely should use the net for him. Just want to get a little clip of the piranha fish that come up to them pinkers that you throw in. You just see in the clear water, little swarm that you get all competing. See if I can get him right down and close. You could literally use a half-metre whip, or just a line on the end of your finger to catch those all day long. Is that an indication? I couldn't quite tell. There was a fish topping right by my rod tip. So I don't know whether that was just swimming into the line right there. Oh. I caught another one spinning the maggots again. Just trying to reel that feeder in. You kill a little perch. Here we are. There's a few little knocks on the rod tip then. Yeah, that's on. Oh, we're back to the skimmers now. Doesn't feel that big if it's still on. Maybe a perch or a little skimmer. Oh. Just a perch dive bombing for it as a reel it in, but nothing from when the original cast. So we've just gone over 2 hours now fishing on this baited line. Only 4 skimmers to show for it, apart from the one roach and the small perch. So not quite anywhere near as good as I need to be at. 3 of the skimmers were good size, and one was a small one. And it's similar to what I've had in the past, really, just fits and starts. Those two of those good size skimmers came within 2 casts of each other, and in the feed it was just ground bait and the hook bait of triple pinkies, and then they just went again. So it's just trying to keep those fish in my peg is the problem that I'm getting. So still lots to learn. Main thing is I haven't bumped off any today so far, but we've got another 3 hours of what would be the match duration left to go, so hopefully I can get some of those skimmers again. Is there something on the end here? I reeled in because it had gone past the 2-minute cast. It feels like there is something on the end of this. Yeah, a little perch. Oh, that's on. I thought I got some knocks off something. I tightened up last time, but it didn't develop. So I'll go get a little bit more time. It's probably one fish has been on the whole time, probably another little perch. Oh, this is a tiny little small skimmer. It's a single pinky that time, with ground bait in the feeder. Yeah, we got a small skimmer. Come on. Let's see if we can get it in the net without bumping it off. A big part of the niggles I need to take out of the my sessions. Oh, it's in the net now. I thought I'd missed the net, but it's in there. Oh shit, actually it's a roach. Nice sized roach there. That's a top bite, I think. Just under 2 minutes. Oh, this feels like it's a skimmer again. More substantial than the last little skimmer. to distinguish between that, I should say. Rather than gliding in, I can feel some resistance. A single pinky again. Maybe that triple pinky is just a bit too big of a hook bait for them. Yeah, it is a skimmer. I've just seen it glinting in the sunlight, just inches below the surface. Yeah, another nice size one again. That's the fourth this size. Just ground bait again. I keep thinking I've hit their formula, but then they just disappear as quickly as they've arrived. And hooked in the net, but the hook was caught in the net. Let's just slip through his lip. There we are. Another nice size, about half a pound. There, take. That was only 30 seconds in. It feels like another decent skimmer. But also the day is panning out similar to my matches that I've had here. They come in fits and starts. How do I keep them constant for 5 hours? That is the match winning question. The good news is I'm not bumping any off at all. No, I'm using mono all the way through. Oh, so scooping-tastic there. As well as that skimmer I've netted, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 little perch have all ended up in the net there when I've just scooped up that skimmer. If you're in a match, do not put those in the keep net. Not mention any names. Is that an indication? Again, another 35 seconds, something on the end. Doesn't feel like a skimmer. I think it might be a perch. Judging by the feeling I'm getting through this line. Oh, actually, is it a skimmer? Where's it gone? Oh, it is just a small skimmer. As long as they keep on rolling through, I'm not too fussed about the size. Scooped up another perch as I netted that one again. There we are. Looks like a little perch, I think. Yep. Yeah, that's what I think. It's just tightening my line then, isn't it? It went round, so I just waited for one more twitch before I lifted into it. The last few casts when the fish have been arriving have all been micro pellets in the feeder, double pinky on the hook, and ground bait pack in the top of the feeder. But I am worried that the perch have come back rather than the skimmers. I'll just try ground bait this time. Oh, yeah, that one's in. Is it on? Yeah, I can definitely feel something, but I think it might be a small perch. Oh, that was more of a lunge. As it woke up. Oh, there's a cormorant there, right in the middle of the peg. Maybe that's why it woke up. That was just a small skimmer. And luckily the cormorant didn't dive on it while it was on the way back in. And it's a tiny skimmer. It's got one hooked in the net. One for the future. Oh, there we go. Tied to the line. That's gone round. Oh, this feels substantial. This is the hardest puller of the day. Not necessarily the biggest fish, obviously. I'm hoping this is going to be a nice, decent sized skimmer. Virgin on a bream, maybe. Yep, I can see it's a skimmer. Oh, come on, up in the water please. Yeah, it's a nice fish. Oh, it is in the net. And loads of perch again. That's scooped up. Yeah, I wish my landing net's just living in the water, so when I lift it up, it's just picking them all up. There's the skimmer, that's the one that actually caught. Another one to the list. Trying to work out if it's slightly better than what I was doing in the matches a month ago at Westfest and the Feeder Masters qualifier. Better than some days, probably bordering on my best day. But obviously I haven't got another 30 anglers, 40 anglers attracting the fish in their area as well. But I haven't got no worm, so we'll see. I mean, the main thing is I haven't bumped any fish off, but I'm nowhere near attracted enough fish or got enough bites in the first place. And I've definitely been having bites where I've been casting it and leaving it for 2 minutes and reeling in without any indications, which is not what we want to see. So, yeah, like I said, I'm going into the last hour. Hopefully we can get another batch of skimmers. I'm just trying to pellet on the hook band at the moment, 6mm bloodworm pellet. This is my second cast on this, but if not, I'll go back to dead pinky. I think everything I've caught has been on dead pinky today, despite trying pink wafters a few times and the pellet this couple of casts too. Well, I said where's the cormorant, and there he is, just to the right of that buoy on the left hand side. That was the take on the drop, I think. So I assume the hook bait bait came out the feeder on the surface. No, there's nothing on, but rather than the rod tip just going back when it hit the bottom, it just started bouncing forward again. That's a take. I'm trying to have a drink. That's my first bite for quite a while, to be honest. I've lost track of the time, but I think it's a skimmer actually as well, from the pools. A couple of feeders full of dead pinkies, then last 2 casts. So maybe they needed some live bait to stir him into action and attract him into the peg. What have we got here? Oh, that's a big skimmer, I think. Just seen its back so far, rather than it coming flat on the surface like they normally do. Yeah, it's a skimmer. Oh, you steered him past the net then. I've just got an hour to go of the 5 hours. And this is the 11th skimmer of the day. There we are. Nice stamp. Need plenty more though. Oh, there's a take. Just have to tighten the line. Again, dead pinkies in the feeder. Double dead pinky on the hook. And then capped off with ground bait. The ground bait is sweet F1 with a bit of krill powder mixed in. One of the smaller skimmers, the silver rather than the bronze. Skimmer all the same though, so that's the main thing, that the shoals there. Like I say, I don't mind having the small skimmers amongst the larger ones. There we are, whoops, freedom. So I've just cast out and we've got another cormorant back again, right by where I'm casting now, which is not good news at all. Couldn't be any closer really. He dived just before I cast out. I don't know where he is now. I'm probably scaring off all my skimmers. Oh, he's over to the right now. Don't know whether you can pick that up on camera, whether he's off the screen, but just over there. It's just diving down over there. I think that's the worrying thing as well, it's just how much ground they can cover. Groundwater, I should say. They just dive under and then they come across, 40-50 metres away within a minute. And they don't need to be eating the fish, they just need to swim through the peg just to scare the fish off, or just to put them off eating. That's all it needs. Got a little bit quiet again after those 2 skimmers. Usual kind of affair for me really. Get a couple of skimmers, think everything's going to go well, and then they just disappear again. There's a take. Again, it had gone a bit quiet. It was micro pellets and ground bait in the feeder with double red pinky in the middle. Another skimmer. Yep. In the net. And he's come unhooked in the net. There we are. Oh, he hasn't. Oh, that was close. That could have been a pain. There we are. About half a pound, I'd say. Back he goes. Yeah, it's a take surely. Yeah, that's on. 30 seconds that went round. Feels like a skimmer. It's got a right pull on it. I wonder if it's a hybrid. Roach bream hybrids do have so much more fight on them than bream or skimmers, but well, it might be right actually. Well, it's in the net. Let's have a closer look to see whether it is or not. Doesn't look like there's any roach in him, but one of the biggest of the day. That's come up unhooked in the net. Here we are. I think that's skimmer 14 now. Bite. Oh, first of all I was snugged. There, I'm free the snug. Oh, there's a cormorant eating a fish. Thanks, mate. If there's not a fish on there, I might just sneak out. No. Let's see if we can get a cast out before my alarm goes off. Treat it like match conditions. Quick. 2 minutes before my alarm goes off. That's all out at the moment. So I couldn't end on a fish unless one happens to be on the end. Nah. So I've had another lovely day at Upper Tamar today. I've fished for 5 hours as I was fishing a match on the feeder, and although I've had a lovely day, I haven't really improved on previous match performances or pleasure performances. I've ended up with 14 skimmers, 5 perch and 3 roach, so probably about 7 or 8 pounds, which is nowhere near the standard needed for the matches here, but about the same sort of standard that I'm used to at the moment. Main positives is that I didn't bump any fish off at all, so that was a good sign. All the fish were caught on double dead pinky, or sorry, dead pinky of some kind, single, double, triple. I think the most successful feeders were when I just got ground bait in, or a mix of micro pellets and ground bait. Occasionally I was putting dead pinkers in the feeder as well, and that seemed to revitalise the peg, but I couldn't maintain that catch rate throughout the whole match, or throughout the whole 5 hours, which is the problem I've had up to now again. So as I say, it's always enjoyable fishing here, but I need to somehow try and work out how to catch the fish all day long, or particularly the skimmers all day long. I know I could catch roach and perch right close in all day long, but I don't think I'll be catching enough to equal the weight of people that can catch skimmers all match long. So yeah, another great day, and I'll see you again soon. If you look out on my feed also, there will be a whip fishing video from this same day as well. So I've been whip fishing in between the feeder fishing beforehand, and I'm going to carry on whip fishing now, so look out for that one as a separate video. But I always have a great day here anyway, so thanks for watching.